Greetings from the sun-drenched hills of Ogimi, Okinawa, the village of longevity. My name is Hana, and though I have celebrated 85 springs, my legs still carry me through my garden with the lightness of a much younger woman. Look at these small green fruits hanging from the branches. They are called Shikuwasa. In America, many of you might feel your strength slipping away like sand through your fingers, making every step feel like a heavy burden. But here, we have a secret that science is finally catching up to. Research published in the Journal of Nutrients highlights how the Nobiletin found in this tiny citrus can actually protect our muscle fibers from breaking down as we age. Today, I want to share this golden fruit and the Okinawan way of life with you so you can reclaim your mobility and walk with confidence again. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching this from and what time is it for you right now? Please let me know in the comments below. I truly look forward to reading them. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss what's coming next. My dear friends across the ocean, have you ever noticed that the stairs in your home seem to grow taller every year? Or perhaps you felt that strange heaviness in your thighs when you try to stand up from your favorite armchair. In the medical world, they call this sarcopenia, but I like to think of it as a silent thief that creeps into our homes under the cover of night. This thief doesn't take your jewelry or your money. Instead, it slowly steals the very fibers of your muscles, leaving you feeling fragile and unsure of your own balance. It often starts so quietly that we don't even notice until we find ourselves hesitating at the curb of a sidewalk or struggling to open a simple jar of pickles. You see, after we pass the age of 60, our bodies begin to change how they process the food we eat and how they maintain our physical strength. In many parts of the West, I see so many wonderful people trying to fight this by eating large portions of meat or taking many supplements, yet they still feel their energy fading. This happens because as we age, our muscles become a bit like a garden that has forgotten how to drink water. Even if you pour the best nutrients on top, if the soil is tired, the plants cannot grow. When our muscles shrink, it isn't just about looking thin. It affects our bones, making them brittle like dry autumn leaves, and it clouds our sleep because a tired body often struggles to find true rest. I remember my friend in Seattle telling me how she felt trapped in her own body, fearing a fall every time she walked to the mailbox. It breaks my heart because getting older should be a time of harvesting wisdom, not living in fear of your own shadow. In Okinawa, we look at this decline not as an invisible enemy, but as a signal from our bodies asking for a different kind of care. We don't just need more food, we need the right keys to unlock the strength that is still resting inside our cells. That is where our little green secret comes in, acting like a spark to relight the fire in your muscles. In our village of Ogimi, there is a scent that fills the air every harvest season, a bright, zesty aroma that makes your heart feel young again. This comes from our beloved Shikuwasa, a tiny green citrus fruit no bigger than a golf ball. You might think it is just a simple lime, but to us, it is a treasure of health. Modern science has found that the peel of this fruit is rich in a special compound called Nobiletin. Think of Nobiletin as a gentle coach for your muscle cells. It helps your body burn fat more efficiently, and more importantly, it signals your muscles to stay strong instead of fading away. It works deep inside your tiny cellular engines called mitochondria, giving them the energy they need to keep your fibers firm and active. I remember my neighbor, Mrs. Sato, who was nearly 90. A few years ago, she began to find it difficult to sit down on our traditional tatami mats, and worse, she struggled to get back up. She felt her independence slipping away, which is a heavy sadness for anyone. She started adding a splash of fresh Shikuwasa juice to her water and using the zest in her daily meals. Slowly, like a flower leaning toward the sun, her strength returned. Now she walks to the village market every morning without a cane. In Okinawa, we say nuchigusui, which means let food be your medicine. This little fruit is not a magic pill, but a gift from the earth that helps your body remember how to be strong. It creates a bridge between the food you eat and the muscles you need to enjoy your life. As we look at how to use this in your own kitchen, you will see that building muscle can be as refreshing as a cool glass of citrus water on a warm afternoon. In our culture, we have a beautiful word, Shokuiku. It literally means food education, but to us in Okinawa, it is the art of nurturing both the body and the spirit. You see, building muscle after 60 is not just about how much protein you can fit on your plate. It is about how much your body can actually welcome and use. In my kitchen, Shikuwasa is never alone. I often pair its bright juice with soft silken tofu. You might find tofu a bit plain, but it is a powerhouse of plant-based protein that is very gentle on an older stomach. When the vitamin C and the Nobiletin from the Shikuwasa meet the protein in the tofu, they act like a team of builders helping your body repair the small tears in your muscle fibers that happen just from moving through your day. Another dear friend of the Shikuwasa is the Goya, or what you might call bitter melon. It has a sharp, brave taste that many find surprising at first. But in Okinawa, we believe that bitterness is the key to a sweet life. Goya helps keep your blood sugar steady, which is very important because when your sugar spikes and drops, your body can accidentally start eating its own muscle for energy. By squeezing a bit of Shikuwasa over a stir-fry of Goya and tofu, you are creating a perfect harmony that protects your strength. I remember teaching my grandson how to prepare this meal. I told him that we must sit on the floor or at a low table, keeping our back straight but relaxed. This posture helps the energy flow to our stomach, making digestion much easier than if we were slumped over a television tray. We also practice the wisdom of chewing each bite 30 times. It sounds like a lot, doesn't it? But for those of us over 60, our digestion is a bit slower than it used to be. By chewing slowly, we turn our food into a soft paste that our body can easily turn into muscle and bone. We eat in a quiet atmosphere, often starting with a moment of gratitude saying, "Itadakimasu," which means, "I humbly receive." This peace of mind lowers our stress hormones. You might not know this, but stress is a greedy thief that melts away muscle. When you eat with a calm heart and a focused mind, every bite of tofu and every drop of citrus juice goes exactly where it needs to be into your tired thighs and your weary back, giving them the strength to stand tall. It is a slow, loving process, much like tending to a bonsai tree where patience eventually leads to a masterpiece of strength. As I look into my small pantry, there are 5 humble treasures I want to share with you, things that have kept my bones from becoming brittle and my muscles from fading away. Every morning before the sun has fully climbed over the horizon, I start with a warm bowl of miso soup. In the West, you might think of it as just a salty appetizer, but for us, it is a living food. Because it is fermented, it fills your gut with tiny friendly helpers that make sure your body can actually absorb the protein from the tofu we talked about. You see, as we get older, our inner fire for digestion becomes a bit weaker. Miso acts like a gentle fan blowing on those embers so you can get every bit of strength from your meals. I remember my friend Eleanor from California. She used to have such a sensitive stomach, but once she started sipping a little warm miso before her main meal, she found she could eat and feel strong again without the heaviness. While the soup is simmering, I always reach for a handful of dried seaweed like wakame or kombu. We call these the vegetables of the sea. Many people in America focus only on calcium from milk, but your bones are like a complex tapestry that needs many different threads of minerals like magnesium and iodine to stay tight and strong. Seaweed provides these in a way that is very easy for an aging body to recognize. It's like adding extra support to the foundation of a house. When my legs used to feel a bit shaky during the humid rainy season, adding more seaweed to my rice always seemed to give my ankles and knees a sense of firmness, as if the strength of the ocean was being woven into my own skeleton. Next, we must talk about the silver-skinned fish from our cold currents like saba or mackerel. These fatty fish are rich in omega-3 oils, which I like to think of as natural grease for our aging joints. When your joints are inflamed and painful, you move less. And when you move less, your muscles begin to shrink away like a neglected garden. By eating these fish a few times a week, you soothe that internal fire of inflammation. I once knew an old fisherman in our village who even at 95 had hands that were steady and strong. He said his secret was never skipping his grilled mackerel. It keeps the rust off our hinges, allowing us to walk further and stand longer without that nagging ache in our hips and lower back. Now there is one food that might look a bit strange to you. It is called natto, or fermented soybeans. It is very sticky and has a strong personality, but it carries a secret weapon called vitamin K2. Think of K2 as a wise traffic controller for your body. It takes the calcium floating in your blood and directs it exactly where it belongs deep inside your bones instead of letting it get stuck in your heart or arteries. It is the reason why many of us here can still walk upright and tall without that hunch that often comes with age. I know the texture can be unusual, but perhaps you can try it mixed with a little mustard or even on a piece of toast. It is truly the gold standard for bone density. Finally, we always finish our day with a cup of freshly brewed green tea. It is not just a drink, it is a ceremony of protection. The leaves are packed with antioxidants that act like tiny shields protecting your muscle fibers from the rust caused by stress and time. In Okinawa, we often sit together under the shade of a tree sipping tea and sharing stories. This simple act of drinking tea lowers the cortisol in our bodies, that nasty hormone that loves to eat away at muscle when we are worried. By protecting your muscles from the inside out, you are ensuring that your body remains a sturdy vessel for your spirit. Each of these foods is a small step, a gentle promise you make to yourself to stay strong for the ones you love. Feeding our bodies with the right nutrients is like putting high-quality oil in a lamp, but to keep the flame bright, we must let the air flow through it. In my home, the most important exercise doesn't happen on a treadmill. It happens right on the floor of my living room. Since I was a little girl, we have lived much of our lives on tatami mats. We sit down to eat, we sit to drink tea, and we sit to talk with our friends. Every time I lower myself to the floor and push myself back up to a standing position, my legs are performing a natural squat. Scientists who study our village have found that an Okinawan elder might stand up and sit down 30 or 40 times a day. For someone over 60, this is the most powerful way to keep your thighs and your core strong without ever needing a gym. Even if you prefer your comfortable sofa, I encourage you to try standing up without using your hands to push off the armrest. It is a small challenge, but it tells your muscles, I still need you, stay with me. But movement is not just about strength. It is about flexibility and greeting the morning with joy. Every morning at the stroke of 6:30, you will hear a familiar melody floating from the village speakers. It is the music of Radio Taiso, a gentle series of movements that almost every Japanese person knows by heart. We stretch our arms toward the sky, we circle our hips like the tide, and we breathe in the fresh morning air. It is not about how fast you move, but about moving every joint in your body. I remember a gentleman I met in Florida once who told me he felt stiff as a board every morning. I showed him a few of these gentle reaches and rhythmic steps. After a week, he told me his lower back felt like it had been unlocked. By moving rhythmically, you encourage the fluid in your joints to flow, washing away the stiffness that makes us feel old. When the sun begins to soften in the afternoon, many of us practice what we call Shinrin-yoku, or forest bathing. This isn't about hiking a steep mountain. It is simply about walking slowly among the trees and letting the forest enter through your senses. For my friends in America, this could be a walk in a local park or even sitting in your backyard near a tree. There is a deep peace that comes from the green leaves and the scent of the earth. Science tells us that being in nature lowers our cortisol, the stress hormone that is a silent enemy of muscle. When we are stressed, our bodies produce chemicals that actually break down muscle tissue for quick energy. By walking slowly and breathing deeply in nature, you are turning off that destructive switch. It is a time to let go of your worries about the future and simply feel the strength of the earth beneath your feet. I often think of my legs as the roots of an old pine tree. The roots do not move fast, but they are deep and steady. By sitting on the floor, stretching with the morning sun, and walking among the trees, you are deepening your roots. You are telling your body that you are still an active part of this beautiful world. It reminds me of a Japanese proverb. We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. So let's keep our bodies playing even in small, gentle ways. Each step you take in nature, and each time you stand up a little taller, you are reclaiming the freedom that Sarcopenia tried to take away. As your body begins to feel more alive, you might notice that your mind starts to feel clearer too, leading us to the most important part of our recovery, the time when our muscles truly grow and heal. As the stars begin to twinkle over the East China Sea, a quiet stillness settles over our village. In Okinawa, we understand that sleep is not just a break from the world. It is the time when the inner carpenters of our body come out to work. When you are over 60, your body produces less of the natural growth hormones that keep your muscles firm. However, during deep, uninterrupted sleep, your body gets a second chance to release these precious restorers. If you toss and turn all night, your muscles remain tired and hungry for repair, which is why you might wake up feeling even heavier than when you went to bed. I often tell my friends in America that a good night's sleep is like a warm embrace for your muscle fibers. To help my body prepare for this restoration, I practice a simple ritual called Ashu, or a warm foot bath. Before I tuck myself into my futon, I sit on a low wooden stool and soak my feet in a basin of comfortably warm water. I sometimes add a few slices of dried ginger or even a bit of leftover Shikuwasa peel. As the warmth seeps into my ankles and calves, I can feel the tension of the day melting away. Science tells us that by warming our feet, we encourage the blood to flow away from our busy, overthinking brains and down toward our extremities. This signals to our nervous system that the time for doing is over and the time for healing has begun. I remember a kind man from Chicago who visited our village. He suffered from restless legs and terrible insomnia. After 3 nights of practicing this simple foot soak, he wept with joy because he finally slept through the night without his legs jumping like frightened fish. We also respect the wisdom of our stomachs when it comes to sleep. We follow the rule of hara hachi bu, eating until we are only 80% full, and we make sure our last meal is light and early. If you go to bed with a stomach full of heavy steak or rich cream, your body spends all its energy on digestion instead of sending that energy to rebuild your muscle tissue. It is like trying to renovate a house while a huge party is still going on inside. The work simply cannot get done. By keeping our evenings light and calm, we allow our hearts to slow down and our muscles to receive the full attention they deserve. Finally, as I lie down, I focus on my breath, a practice that connects my mind to my physical strength. I place one hand on my belly and feel it rise and fall like the gentle waves on our shore. I count my breaths 1, 2, 3, letting go of any worries about the strength I might have lost today. I tell myself that tonight my body is growing stronger. This peace of mind is the final ingredient in our Okinawan recipe for health. When you sleep with a heart full of gratitude and a body that has been warmed and nourished, you wake up not just rested but renewed. Your muscles feel lighter, your joints feel oiled, and you find that you have the courage to face another beautiful day. This restoration of the body is what gives us the energy to find our Ikigai, the reason we get out of bed with a smile every single morning. In our language, we have a word that is like a warm light inside the soul, Ikigai. Most people translate it as a reason for being, but for us in the gardens of Okinawa, it is simply the reason we choose to get out of bed every morning with a smile. You see, building muscle and stopping sarcopenia is not just a physical task, it is a spiritual one. When you have a purpose, your brain sends signals to your body that life is still vibrant and worth the effort. I once knew a wonderful man named Mr. Tanaka. At 92, his back was slightly bent, but his pace was steady. Every single day, he walked to the village center to teach the young children how to weave traditional bamboo baskets. His Ikigai was the passing of wisdom. Because he had those children waiting for him, his legs remembered how to be strong. His purpose acted like a second spine holding him upright when age tried to pull him down. I want you to think about your own life in America. Perhaps your Ikigai is not weaving baskets, but maybe it is tending to your rose bushes, calling your grandchildren to hear their laughter, or even the simple joy of preparing a beautiful, healthy meal for yourself. When you find that small spark of joy, your body releases chemicals like dopamine that actually help your muscles feel more responsive and less weary. I remember a woman from Virginia who felt she had lost her use after retirement. She felt her strength fading because she felt she was no longer needed. We talked about finding a small Ikigai. She decided to start volunteering at a local animal shelter to walk the older dogs. Suddenly, she had a reason to practice her floor-to-standing movements and drink her Shikuwasa water. She wasn't just walking for her health anymore. She was walking for those dogs. Her love became her strength. In Okinawa, we don't have a word for retirement in the way you do. We believe that as long as we are breathing, we have a role to play in the tapestry of our community. Never believe the lie that says you are too old to be useful or too weak to change. Every time you choose to eat a piece of tofu, every time you take a slow walk in the park, and every time you share a kind word with a neighbor, you are practicing your Ikigai. Your muscles are the servants of your will. When your will is full of hope and purpose, your muscles will follow. This mental strength is the invisible Nobiletin that keeps our village young. As you find your reason to smile today, you will find that your legs feel a little lighter and the path ahead looks a little brighter. We are not just surviving our later years. We are flourishing in them one purposeful step at a time. My dear friends, our time together is ending, but your journey to strength begins. Your body is a temple deserving gentle care. From the spark of Shikuwasa to the peace of sunset walks, these secrets are yours. Do not lose heart. Even the tallest pine started as a seed. I believe in your inner power and enduring light. Thank you for listening today. I wish you many days of walking tall with purpose. Stay strong, stay joyful, and live well.